Certainly, in a referral, there's a transaction, but the relationship is what's key.
No matter where you go across the country or the world, there is an agent there that's willing to assist and help you out.
Hi, I'm Vikki Grodner, and this is the College Real Estate Coach. We are going to have a really interesting conversation with two of my favorite men and also two of my favorite networkers. And because they're such excellent networkers, they also often have the opportunity to do referrals when it comes to real estate. This is something that's relevant to college towns, but it's also relevant to real estate in general. And so I thought it would be meaningful and worthwhile to have a discussion about real estate and referrals and how super connectors like Royce Dickerson and my husband Ken Grodner can help you whenever you are buying real estate anywhere in the country and in fact in the world. So Royce and Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Vikki.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so as we all know, and perhaps others know as well, Keller Williams is a well-established brokerage and real estate company across the country and again, even around the world. And so as a result, we can refer business to other realtors. But let's just go to the basics and start from the beginning and explain to people what we're talking about when we talk about referrals within real estate. Ken, do you want to start and talk about that?
I'd love to. Thank you for the opportunity. So we grew an agent referral network in Birmingham, a nationwide network, as a result of the work that we were doing with the University of Alabama in Birmingham, UAB. UAB is a massive economic driver for our state, generating over $15 billion in annual economic impact. And half of that is a result of the health system. And so we think about UAB Health Center as the heartbeat, no pun intended, of Birmingham.
Or maybe intended, I don't know.
Or maybe. And, 1,900 faculty members, 27 departments, 106 residency and fellowship programs. So when you think about medical students and residents, at least at UAB, more than half of the medical students who are graduating to become residents will perform their residency somewhere other than UAB. So we saw the need to develop the agent referral network to really serve that community. You mentioned Vikki Keller Williams with over 1,100 offices and 200,000 agents worldwide. That really became the first place to look. So we'll talk about
but to that point, Ken, I mean, right? They don't have to be a Keller Williams agent, right? When we're referring things back and forth.
While many are, not all of them are. So when we were building out our referral network for serving graduating medical students and new physicians, we really talked about and thought about four different components. The first is the cities, like where do we need our network agents to be? The second is the criteria. What would make for a great network agent? And to your very good point, Vikki, could be Keller Williams, but doesn't have to be. And then three is what would be that onboarding process to bring an agent into our network, and then for the onboarding process. So with respect to the first one, we looked at the academic medical centers around the country, mapped those to where the UAB medical students were matching to, and that became our target city.
Right. So this created like a framework for a network that we developed.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Then what we did was developed our criteria. So we started, with the Keller Williams network, but didn't have to, as you've pointed out. We wanted to find agents that were busy but not too busy. So, the top agent in the market center is the name of what Keller Williams uses as the office. They may not be interested in our 20 something that may be renting or maybe buying
Or
and
just
wants
may
to.
not have time, may not prioritize it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted agents that had great reviews, but we weren't looking for the top one, two, or three agents in the community. We also looked for agents who might have experience with their health center and medical center, even better because Vicky, referrals work both ways. Not
Right.
only not, o-
Right.
yeah, not only are we looking to refer out, but hopefully they would refer back. So we have our cities, we have our criteria. We interviewed the agents to really get a sense for their background, their commitment. To their clients, their track records, and so then we had our top candidates of agents. And and this medical match program where medical students are matching all over the country. Vicki, it happens this for most of the medical students the same day all over the
Right.
country.
Right. Yes. And so, which means that we also find out who's coming into Birmingham then, right?
A
And so
hundred
referrals
percent.
go, as you said, both ways. Yeah.
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 So to that end, for many, it was really an onboarding process to talk about the medical match program, to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what we're doing in Birmingham to
Right.
get out in front of medical students, both outbound and inbound, and then encouraging the agents in our network to do the same thing. One, to drive their
Right.
business, but two, to bring referrals back to us. So, Vicki, this is the third year. The program in the second year, we doubled the
Yeah.
number of inbound
Continues
and
to grow.
outbound
Wow.
referrals, and in the third year our goal is to double again. So
Right.
that's sort of a very nichey example of a
Right.
referral program.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's related to college, right? So that was relevant. But in the case of Royce, I mean, he has just again, he's a super connector. He's one of those people. He's one of those guys. And so Royce knows a lot of people, and he worked for us at one time as an agent full time. Well, not full time, but worked as an agent on our team. Now has his real estate license still, but knows a lot of people in a lot of places. So we're going to be working with Royce to try to also develop some referral techniques and systems that extend beyond the medical students and beyond colleges. So, Royce, do you want to talk about just kind of like your network and all the folks you might know? I mean, not naming names, of course, but
Yeah, of course. No, absolutely. And thank you both for the opportunity that you have continued to provide me. As you mentioned, not only was I an agent, but I also was a client of yours, buying my first house when I was graduating senior year at the University of Alabama. And that's what I understood about real estate. There's so many things that are telling you that you can't do it and it's too difficult or it's too hard or requires a certain amount of money that you don't have access to. And understanding how the process went through having my experience, I wanted to be a resource and an advocate for those who are interested in doing it. I think,
I love that.
even this week, I think that the stat came out that the average age for a first-time home buyer is now 40.
I
And
know. Isn't that pathetic and messed
I mean,
up? Yeah.
it's one of those things where anyone who is below the age of 40 is sitting there, assuming that they can't do it. And as I've
Right.
gone throughout my time in Alabama and Georgia and now here in Washington, D.C., and even in the Air Force now, I've realized that there are so many people longing for the desire to own their own home and what that
Hmm.
means for them and their families and providing generational wealth and security. And so I wanted to be able to utilize the network that I've been able to create across the country and even internationally to be able to be a support service and assist. I constantly get text messages. Royce, what's an agency agreement and how much do I really have to have for a down payment? And when did you know it was the right time to buy a home? And I've heard all those questions and I've answered them, but I also want to provide more structure to it.
I
And
love that.
partnering with you all and the network that you created and the agents that you vetted, you do the work for the client because they know that they have someone that's committed to the cause of providing opportunities in real estate. But then also it makes their life easier. So that way they know whether they're in this country or abroad, they have someone who's trusted, who's vetted, and is going to get the right job done and provide the best services for them. So I'm really excited about it because the network is there, the people are willing and able and interested in real estate, and we just have to be able to provide that service for them.
Right, right. No, that's awesome, Royce. And so, yeah, so you're getting a lot of those inquiries now then from people that you know.
So, I mean, I feel like every other day I'm getting a message about real estate throughout the process. And, I want to be that champion, I want to be that supporter, but I also want to make sure that we're giving them the right information. I'm a licensed agent, I keep up enough, but I'm not a full-time agent who is interested and involved in it daily. But we have enough interest, and I have the experience of being a homeowner and a seller. And so being able to share that experience from my perspective, but also partner that with someone who's tried and true and trusted in the space and does it every day is something that I think has been helpful. No matter where you go across the country or the world, there is an agent there that's willing to assist and help you out. And someone that we either know or have worked with or had someone that's worked with them before to give you the real deal.
Right. We shot an episode earlier with a gentleman in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that Ken has actually worked with as part of our agent referral network. So, absolutely. And he, they've referred things back and forth to each other. And I think that's really what we wanted to put a fine point on with this particular episode is for people to understand that we can help them not just in Tuscaloosa or Birmingham or someplace in Alabama. We can help them anywhere, again, in this country or this world. So they might have a student this year at UAB or in Tuscaloosa at Alabama, but they might have a up and coming student that's decided to go to Oregon or to LSU. And we know agents in those markets. So it's really important for people to understand that you don't have to just go out blindly and find an agent. You can work with somebody you already know who, as Royce indicated, understands the industry, but then can refer you to somebody that they know to do that sort of purchase, which is for most people the biggest thing they're going to ever buy, right? So you
Yes,
want to know that you're working with people that you can trust.
that's
So,
right.
and similarly, I mean, if people have worked with agents in their hometowns, I mean, they can then have them reach out to us and we can help them in the markets that we serve. So,
And I think that's what I wanted to get across is exactly right. I'm licensed in Alabama, but that doesn't mean the extent of the real estate experience that I have is only confined within the boundaries of the state of Alabama. It
right,
goes anywhere, and the market, there's particular pieces depending on where you are with the rules and legislation pertaining to real estate, but the process of buying a home, for the most part, is standardized. I know things are different, and you can speak to that and what that looks like in New York or here in
right.
DC and in a city. But the process is there's a step by step of what you have to have done, and then there's some additional pieces from there. And I think one of the things that I want to encourage people to do is ask those questions and share how their experience has gone, especially if you're, in the younger age group below that 40-year old threshold where society is telling you you're not supposed to do this and you've done it. I want to hear how the experience has been, the questions that you've had, the challenges that you've had, and how we can best serve you in your future process of buying a home or selling that home, or someone else you might know who is interested in making that step for their own.
Absolutely. And it really is a process. Ken, you look like you wanted to jump in.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, Vicky, probably the most connected connector with Royce,
I don't
and
know
then
about
you've
Well,
that,
got
you're
but
not
a
too
Royce.
bad either, brother.
exactly.
So,
You got a Royce wannabe with me, and I just wanted to share with your community that while real estate is where the conversation starts, it's not limited to real estate. And so when I think about Royce, your comment that resonated with me was, I just want to be a resource. So I was just thinking about the connections that I've made and the questions that I've received from some of my real estate clients, one of which is in the vending machine business. And I have connected him and helped him place vending machines at some of my other clients. Certainly, Vicki, I could think of a half a dozen people who's said my spouse is moving to Birmingham and interviewing with fill in the blank.
yes,
And I'm
yes,
like, okay, well, if they're interviewing with UAB, with regions, you name it, we know people in those companies and organizations, and if for nothing else, then to have a pre-conversation with someone about the culture, about the company, so
right.
that when they do have their interview, they just have they have maybe one more level of confidence, having
Mm-hmm.
spoken to somebody in the organization. And I have to tell you, that's been about as much fun for me as working in the real estate space.
I agree. I mean, I think all three of us come from really a place of
Yeah.
service. And that's what I think resonates with all of us. So, yes, we happen to be in the real estate industry. To your very good point, Ken, we're also involved in the organizations and the communities we live in that we can be resources to people in other ways as well. So let's talk about real estate transactions that go beyond sales, because not everybody, to your very good point, Royce, is in a position today or next week to buy real estate. It may be a process that they're going to have to build to. So do referrals also work, Ken, if you're looking for a rental?
Well, they certainly do, Vicki, and thanks for asking the question. So when I think about our graduating medical students,
Mm-hmm.
and how many of them are actually going to be purchasing versus renting, I would say that the majority are going to be renting at least for the first year. And um,
Well,
and
right, because they
so
need to get
the
to know a community, right? They need
get
to
to know
know
the
it.
community. Compensation is not huge, believe it or
No,
not,
it's
for a new
not.
position.
For
So,
yeah, for a
um,
resident, yeah, it's kind of
I
a
mean, right,
shocking.
right, for a resident. So when we have a client that's looking to move to a new city, the agent is going to serve them whether they're going to buy or they're going to rent. And why would the agent be interested in that? Well, at
Hmm.
some point they're likely going to buy. And it doesn't take a tremendous amount of effort on behalf of the agent. They know the community, the client does not. They use this to establish their relationship and their rapport, and then maybe down the road there's a transaction with a purchase. Royce, what about you? What's been your experience?
I mean, that's exactly right, Ken. Even me personally, I had to refer myself to an agent so that way I could become more familiar with areas in Washington, D.C. to figure out where I want to be initially to rent and then to purchase a home. And then oftentimes even been asked with friends who are moving to New York City, you know, it's not impossible, but it's close to impossible to find a property to rent in New York City without a real
Very
estate
true.
agent. And
Very
so
true.
they have asked, Royce, do you have any agents that you might know or be familiar with? Because I'm moving to New York City this summer and I have no idea where I want to
Hmm.
live. But even the process of negotiating real estate in New York City is not impossible, but close to impossible. So having
Right.
that trusted source has been something that's been good for me, is because I know when someone's next up to move to New York City to have that dream of living there, we have a trusted group of people who are ready to help them out no matter what borough or whether they're in New York or in New Jersey, to be able to help provide them that opportunity to have some assurance, knowing that this is going to be their first and biggest step that they'll make in their lives, but knowing at least a part of it is going to be taken care of because of the network that we've had and utilized.
What else do you guys want to talk about as it relates to referrals? Do you have any other kind of closing thoughts on, what people should know about referrals, how to do this?
Well, and that's what I would love to touch on, and not sure who might be the best expert for this, but I think one of the questions that I always get asked, Royce, if you're referring me to this agent, does this mean that you're taking more of my money? And I think
Uh-huh.
there's a great conversation to be had about what that looks like. What is a referral? What does that mean? Is it just a pass off? Is it a new relationship? Ken, do you
And, and,
maybe know how to speak to that
and
experience?
and
Great
related,
question.
Royce, is so what is your role going to be once you've
Mm-hmm.
referred me to an agent in DC? Does that mean I can't call
Right.
on you
That's right.
That's right.
anymore?
Not at
That's right.
all.
And the answer is no. It's our relationship. Certainly, in a referral, there's a transaction, but the relationship is what's key. And
Right.
so the relationship
Going in
survives.
every direction, right? The relationship with the original client, but also the relationship with the other agents. So we want everybody to have a good experience.
That's right. So we stay in contact with our client. We stay in contact with the agent that we've referred to. And sometimes we actually can be an in-between. If the client maybe hasn't heard back from the agent or heard something that they want to validate with us, that's a great way to maintain, that connection.
Yes.
And as I've said, the transaction is one thing. The relationship goes well beyond the transaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for me personally, I want to be there when it's going great and you're seeing and on a showing and wanting to see your first property or down the road for the 10th, but also when it's going bad and you need that second opinion from someone who's been there before to be able to provide that context as to it sounds bad, but we've done this before. Your agent is qualified and confident, can get through this. I know it's not as exciting as you thought it would be, and there are going to be moments where even after you get under contract, things aren't always going to go as smoothly as they're supposed to be. But in the end, it will all work out, and that's the thing that I'm excited about is to work with those people when it's good and when it's bad, and all the way to the closing table, and then further on,
Right.
especially in real estate, we're a constant wealth of resources when things go bad. Who's our go-to plumber? Lawn and landscaping care. We know it
Right.
all because we're connected in those spaces and want to be able to provide that resource to people. So that's what I've appreciated. I know, Vicky, I utilize you even still for that purpose to this day. Whenever something goes wrong in Alabama and I need some help, your real estate agent is not just a one-time transaction, as Ken talked about. It's a
No, right. Not if
relationship,
they're
and
doing their job right. That's exactly
that's
right.
exactly right. That's
So
exactly
yeah.
right.
And Royce, I just want to go back to your question that you touched on, which is it does not cost people more
That's
if
right.
we refer them to somebody. That agent's going to get a little bit less, but you know what? If we don't make the introduction, they were never going to have that transaction. So they're happy to have us participate in the transaction with them. So
That's exactly right. I mean, I see it very similar to, credit card referrals.
yeah,
Someone's going to, there obviously is going to be a transaction of funds, but at the end of the day, the purpose is still going to be held, and whatever that commission might have been that's going to that one agent, just a portion of that gets deducted to your local friend who is familiar in real estate and has that referral for you. So
right.
it's wonderful that it provides an opportunity to do that, but it doesn't allow or cause someone to have to do it at an extra cost.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, there's so much about real estate, and it was true for me too before I got into it, that is a mystery to people, right? And again, it is your biggest investment. It can be simple, but it often can be complicated, or there may be things that come up. And so to have not one, but two resources that you can bounce things off of and that can be there for you, I think is incredibly important and valuable. So,
Absolutely.
yes, so my two super connectors, Royce and Ken, I so appreciate you guys speaking to the referral process and not just how it relates to colleges and universities, but how it can help any of our clients and any of our friends to buy the property that is, going to meet their needs. So
Right.
I thank y'all so much for being with us. And this is Vikki Grodner, the College Real Estate Coach.